Right in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, a talented college student was robbed of her final breath by her own roommate and the roommate's boyfriend.
There are new details tonight in the murder of Clark Atlanta University student Alexis Crawford.
Spokesman for the family of a murdered Clark Atlanta University student tells us her roommate was active in the search for Alexis Crawford despite being involved in her death.
When the truth came to light, both of them paid the ultimate price, losing their freedom for the rest of their lives.
Could the young couple accused of killing a Clark Atlanta student face the death penalty tonight?
Today, we return to Atlanta in October 2019, when the life of a bright young woman named Alexis Crawford suddenly took a devastating turn. At just 21, Alexis was a senior at Clark Atlanta University, eagerly preparing for graduation and a promising future ahead. She was not only an outstanding student, but also the pride of the Crawford family, a large, loving household with 5 brothers and 4 sisters, bound together by deep affection. Alexis was raised by her parents, Bobby and Tammy Crawford, who instilled in her compassion, honesty, and faith. Friends described her as confident, hardworking, caring, and full of positive energy that uplifted everyone around her. Her strong sense of justice and integrity had been shaped early on by watching her father's dedication as a member of law enforcement. Perhaps that's why Alexis chose to study criminal justice, with the dream of one day helping her community and bringing about meaningful change in society. Off campus, Alexis shared an apartment with 21-year-old Jordan Jones. Their friendship was often described by friends as 2 peas in a pod, so close that Alexis even called Jordan her best friend. Jordan knew Alexis's family well and had even joined her for Thanksgiving dinner. For 2 young women paired together as random roommates, it seemed they had found the perfect companion, at least for a while. On the afternoon of October 30th, at around 3:30 p.m., Alexis's mother, Tammy Crawford, and her sister, Monica, made a video call to her. During the call, Alexis appeared cheerful and radiant, chatting enthusiastically with them as usual. She laughed, shared some stories from school, and ended the call by asking Monica if she could send her some money through the Cash App. Her father, Bobby, overheard and told her it was fine, so Monica immediately transferred the money to her sister. Later that evening, just before 9 p.m., another sister, Alexandria, texted Alexis to ask if she had any plans for the night. It was homecoming weekend at Clark Atlanta University, a time when students and alumni came together for various events, festivals, and parties throughout the weekend. However, Alexis simply replied that she didn't have any plans, suggesting she probably intended to stay home and rest. At 9:03 p.m., Alexis posted something on Instagram, and about 20 minutes later, she responded to a friendly message from one of her friends. That would be her final sign of online activity. After that moment, Alexis went completely silent. No calls, no messages, no social media interactions. Something that had never happened before for a young woman who always stayed closely connected with her family. The next morning, as the sun rose and a new day began, Alexis's phone remained eerily silent. This was completely out of character for her. She was someone who always stayed in touch with her family, sending messages or making calls almost every day, sometimes every few hours. This time, every call went straight to voicemail. By November 1st, when Alexis failed to show up for class and missed her work shift, Her family's concern quickly turned into fear. That simply wasn't who Alexis was. She was punctual, responsible, and never disappeared without letting anyone know. Realizing that something was seriously wrong, her parents began frantically calling her friends, professors, and even her roommate to ask if anyone had seen her. When no one had any answers, the family made the difficult decision to report Alexis missing to the Atlanta Police Department. From that moment, a massive search effort was launched, marking the beginning of a heartbreaking case that would soon shake the entire Clark Atlanta University community.
Missing Clark Atlanta student Naima Abdullahi joining us now from the Atlanta University Center. Naima, what do we know here?
Sheba, family and friends of 21-year-old Alexis Crawford desperately need your help to find her. That they're concerned for her safety and they're hoping to find her safely. We first found out about this yesterday, and here's what we know so far. Atlanta police confirmed a missing person report has been filed for the Clark Atlanta University senior. Her brother says that she was last seen on Wednesday, October 30th. Alexis Crawford is originally from Athens and lives off campus while attending Clark Atlanta University this semester. We're told school officials have been notified about her disappearance now. Police right now are also aware of what's going on. The university is aware, and now the family is asking for the public's help to find her. So if anyone saw her, know anything, or saw anything, to contact police immediately.
Security footage from the Heritage Station apartments confirmed that on the evening of October 30th, Alexis left the apartment with her roommate, Jordan Jones. Jordan told police that she had driven Alexis to a nearby convenience store around 11:30 p.m., just a few minutes from their building. Surveillance cameras at the store also captured Alexis browsing and picking out a drink while chatting briefly with the cashier. She appeared completely normal, showing no signs of distress or concern. According to Jordan, after they returned to the apartment, she saw Alexis one last time in the living room before heading to bed, and that was the last time she ever saw her friend. According to Jordan Jones's statement, on the morning of Thursday, October 31st, when she woke up, Alexis was no longer in the apartment. She recalled that the night before, Alexis had planned to sleep in the living room, but the next morning there was no sign that she actually had. The blanket and pillow were still neatly arranged, untouched. As Jordan looked around the apartment, she noticed that Alexis's phone, ID card, and bank card were all gone. The front door was locked from the outside, leading her to believe that Alexis might have gone out during the night, possibly to attend a homecoming party or meet up with some friends. However, when police began reviewing the surveillance footage around the complex, they only found images of Alexis at the convenience store from the previous evening, and no one from her school or friend group had seen her after that. This detail quickly made investigators realize that Alexis had vanished after leaving the store, and from that point on, every trace of her seemed to disappear completely.
In the last hour, Atlanta police have released new images of a missing Clark Atlanta student. These photos taken inside of a liquor store just hours before Alexis Crawford disappeared. Police think she may have been wearing the same outfit.
The search for Alexis Crawford quickly spread across social media under the hashtag #Let'sFindLex, drawing hundreds of shares from students, Atlanta residents, and even strangers who had never met her. Many volunteer groups organized themselves to search everywhere, focusing mainly on the area surrounding the Heritage Station apartments, particularly a dense wooded area across from her building, where they hoped to find any possible clue. Police worked alongside local authorities, combing through every corner, while Alexis's family prayed relentlessly and distributed flyers throughout the city. She had never been reported missing before, and the complete silence from her phone, bank accounts, and social media only deepened everyone's concern. For those who knew Alexis, a disciplined young woman devoted to her family and always in touch with her parents. This silence was profoundly out of character. The initial hope soon gave way to growing fear that something serious might have happened. Still, police remained cautious, stating they were not ruling out any possibilities, including the chance that Alexis might have left on her own for reasons that were not yet clear.
No one has heard from Alexis Crawford for nearly a week.
Alexis Crawford's parents were here along with her siblings, her cousins, other family members and friends, praying for her safe return. They were holding hands in prayer, and they were also joined by the Clark Atlanta University president, who says that the campus community is completely devastated after Crawford's disappearance.
Earlier today, with the Clark Atlanta Police Department's Chief of Police, Chief Deborah Williams, and she assured this family that the Clark Atlanta Police Department would do everything it could to bring this young lady home to her family. And we just finished a meeting with the senior leadership here in the Atlanta Police Department, who also assured this family that as the lead investigative agency, they would do all that they could. And the family and I have great confidence in the men and women that are looking for Miss Crawford. And we have every reason to believe that Atlanta police will get to the bottom of what happened to her. But today I stand with this family asking for several things of the people of Atlanta. First, I would ask the people of Atlanta to pray for the family and for Miss Crawford. Secondly, and more importantly, there are people in this community, students in the AU Center and other places, that may have information that can be helpful in finding out just where Miss Crawford is. And I would ask the people of Atlanta to come forward with any information that you might have to help the Atlanta Police Department to do their very best in finding Miss Crawford and bringing her home. First person that I would ask to speak is Mr. Bobby Wright, who is Miss Crawford's father, who drove up from Athens and has made the determination he's not leaving the city until his baby is found.
Baby, I love you, baby. Just come home. Come home, baby. Come home. I love you. Just come home. I'm not gonna leave until you get home.
And I hope God's walking with you, and please prevent any evil that comes our way. And we're here for you. I love you, Alexis, and miss you.
As you can see, the emotions are running very deep. This is a praying, believing family, and they do believe in their holding faith that Alexis will come home.
While the citywide search for Alexis Crawford was still underway, investigators began calling every hospital and local clinic, checking to see if anyone had been admitted or treated without identification, possibly under the temporary name Jane Doe. Then, an unexpected lead emerged, redirecting the entire investigation back to the last place Alexis was seen safe, her apartment at Heritage Station. Meanwhile, her family continued to pray tirelessly, supported by Pastor Mark A. L. Hutchins, who served as their official spokesperson. During a public prayer gathering, he said, "We know Alexis is going through a lot. She recently experienced something no woman should ever have to endure. So we ask the people of Atlanta to please pray for her and her family." His words at the time were cryptic, but the truth behind them would soon come to light. On October 27th, just 3 days before she went missing, Alexis had gone to Grady Memorial Hospital and filed a report with police, stating that she believed she had been the victim of a serious assault. The person she accused was none other than Baron Brantley, her roommate Jordan Jones's 21-year-old boyfriend. On the evening of October 27th, just 3 days before her disappearance, Alexis Crawford, Jordan Jones, and Baron Brantley were having a few drinks together at the two women's apartment in the Heritage Station complex. At first, the atmosphere was relaxed, but things quickly changed when Barron began acting inappropriately, attempting to make unwanted advances toward Alexis, something she firmly rejected. Barron tried to excuse his behavior by saying he had mistaken her for Jordan, but his words only made Alexis more frightened. She quickly retreated to her bedroom to get away from him, yet Barron followed her to the doorway. Alexis then went into the bathroom, locked the door, and later told police that she remembered nothing else except feeling dizzy before losing consciousness. When she woke up, she noticed her clothes were disheveled and torn, while Barron was in a state of undress. At that moment, Jordan began banging on the door, demanding Barron open it. When he finally did, she saw him and asked what had happened, to which Barron hurriedly replied, "I didn't do anything to Alexis." Around 6 a.m., he left the apartment in Jordan's car, just minutes before police arrived. In fact, the 911 call Jordan made that morning wasn't to report any wrongdoing, but to tell authorities that Barron had taken her car without permission. During the call, she even referred to Barron as her ex-boyfriend, a detail that later contradicted witness statements claiming the two were still in a relationship at the time.
Hey, what's the address of the emergency? You need police, fire, EMS.
Yes, because my ex-boyfriend just stole my car. He took my keys and ran.
Okay. What's your name?
Jordan Jones.
All right, Miss Jones.
Jordyn.
We'll get an office out for you.
After the horrifying incident on October 27th, Alexis Crawford decided to go to Grady Memorial Hospital to undergo a forensic examination designed for victims of assault. The results revealed that the biological evidence collected matched Barron Brantley, confirming a direct connection between him and the incident. While Alexis was trying to recover from the emotional trauma and awaiting the outcome of the police investigation, Jordan Jones, who knew the entire story, secretly allowed Barron to return to their apartment and stay there for several days. This silent betrayal would make the tragedy that followed even more devastating. Alexis told her friends she no longer felt safe sleeping in her bedroom, so she moved to the living room to rest instead. She remained anxious and fearful, hoping the situation would soon be resolved through legal action. But the heartbreaking truth was that, while Alexis tried to distance herself from that room, she had no idea Barron was still hiding inside the very same apartment, only a few steps away from her. As soon as investigators from the Atlanta Police Department learned about the assault report Alexis had previously filed, they immediately returned to the Heritage Station apartment to question Jordan Jones and Barron Brantley. During the interview, Jordan admitted that she was aware of what had happened on October 27th and confirmed that after that incident, her relationship with Alexis had become distant and strained. However, as detectives continued pressing her for details, inconsistencies in Jordan's story began to surface, from the timeline of when Barron left the apartment to whether he had returned afterward. The deeper they probed, the more it became clear that this was far from a simple missing person case. Jordan's nervous demeanor, evasive answers, and conflicting statements made investigators suspect she was hiding something serious. After hours of questioning, Jordan finally confessed that she knew where Alexis could be found. With the assistance of her father, a law enforcement officer from the state of Michigan, Jordan led detectives to a wooded area about 11 miles from the apartment in DeKalb County, near Exchange Park in Decatur.
The missing Clark Atlanta student
has been found dead in DeKalb County. Our sources are telling us that her body was found at Exchange Park in Decatur. That is near I-285 and Columbia Drive.
Today, Alexis's body was found in a park. Our investigators are working on securing arrest warrants for 2 individuals. The case has come to one of the saddest conclusions possible and has been absolutely heartbreaking.
On November 8th, exactly 1 week after Alexis Crawford was reported missing, investigators discovered her body at Exchange Park in DeKalb County. Decatur, about 11 miles from the Heritage Station apartment. The investigation report revealed that Alexis had been asphyxiated, and her body had been hidden inside a large plastic trash bin, covered with several layers of material in an attempt to conceal it. Immediately after the discovery, the Atlanta Police Department officially announced that 2 suspects, Jordan Jones and Barron Brantley, had been charged with intentional homicide. The news sent shockwaves through Clark Atlanta University and its student community. Levon Campbell, the student body president, shared. The loss of Alexis is an overwhelming tragedy, but what makes it even more heartbreaking is knowing that the people involved were once beloved students and familiar faces on campus. The atmosphere at the university turned somber. Classes and homecoming events were suspended, and many students gathered to honor Alexis with flowers and candles. The university later issued an open letter to all students and parents, expressing deep sorrow and announcing that on-site counselors would be available to support anyone emotionally affected by the tragedy. Meanwhile, Alexis's father, Bobby Crawford, tearfully said at a press conference, "If someone wanted to hurt somebody, they could have chosen me. They didn't have to take my daughter, a young woman who had just begun her life." His words brought the entire room to silence, marking one of the most heartbreaking moments of the case. During the investigation, both Barron Brantley and Jordan Jones eventually began cooperating with police and admitted partial responsibility for what had happened to Alexis. According to their statements, in the early hours of October 31st, shortly before 3 a.m., a heated argument broke out between Alexis and Jordan inside the Heritage Station apartment. The dispute reportedly stemmed from the incident Alexis had reported to police just days earlier, which had created mounting tension between the 2 women. The confrontation quickly escalated into a physical struggle, and in a moment of uncontrolled rage, Jordan allegedly grabbed a plastic bag while Barron emerged from Jordan's bedroom after hearing the commotion and became involved, according to their account. Barron restrained Alexis by holding her neck tightly, while Jordan simultaneously placed the plastic bag over her head, preventing her from breathing. Barron told investigators that Alexis struggled desperately, gasping for air and making faint sounds before eventually going still. The actions of both were determined to have gone far beyond a simple altercation. They amounted to a deliberate and cruel act of taking a life, leaving the entire investigative team stunned. Security footage from the parking garage at Heritage Station Apartments provided investigators with a crucial piece of evidence. The video showed Jordan Jones and Barron Brantley pulling Jordan's car up near the apartment entrance at around 3 a.m. on October 31st. Police believe this was the moment they removed Alexis from the apartment. According to the investigation, the 2 had placed Alexis inside a large plastic bin within the apartment, then cleaned the entire living room area in an effort to erase any trace of what had happened. However, forensic teams later found biological evidence that could not be completely wiped away. After carrying the bin containing Alexis to the car, Jordan and Barron drove to Exchange Park in Decatur, DeKalb County, about 11 miles away, and abandoned the container in a secluded wooded area. Once they finished disposing of the evidence, the two calmly returned to the apartment and went to sleep as if nothing had happened. That same afternoon, Jordan even texted a friend, asking her to bring a new trash bin to replace the old one, as though it were just another routine chore. Later that night, Jordan and Barron attended a Halloween party together, blending in with the crowd of students, appearing cheerful and composed, while Alexis would never return home again. After compiling witness statements, forensic evidence, and surveillance footage, detectives concluded that both Jordan Jones and Barron Brantley were active participants who deliberately worked together throughout the entire course of the crime. Neither had been coerced. They acted in coordination, from cleaning the apartment to planning how to conceal the truth. After everything happened, Jordan turned off Alexis's phone to prevent anyone from contacting her, but later pretended to text to the same number, expressing worry and asking where Alexis was. Not stopping there, Jordan even posted on Instagram, appealing for help to find her missing roommate, writing, "This is an incredibly difficult time for me, and I just feel so helpless. My heart truly aches right now." However, when investigators reviewed the post, they saw no sign of genuine remorse or grief, only a calculated attempt to mislead the public and Alexis's family. In the following days, both Jordan and Barron continued their daily routines as if nothing had happened, attending classes, going to parties, and appearing in public with unsettling normalcy. When police later returned to the apartment and used luminol, they detected biological traces in at least 6 different spots throughout the living room, even though the area had been thoroughly cleaned. Those findings confirmed that a serious incident had taken place inside the apartment, reinforcing the conclusion that it was indeed the scene of the heartbreaking crime. To this day, the true motive behind the heartbreaking case of Alexis Crawford remains unclear. Investigators believe that the details surrounding the confrontation on the night of October 31st still contain many uncertainties, making it difficult to determine exactly how it began. However, given that Alexis had filed a complaint about a serious assault on October 27th, just 3 days before she disappeared, it is widely believed that this incident was the root of the tension that fractured her friendship with Jordan and ultimately led to the tragedy. Police have stated that they are still examining whether that complaint served as the direct motive behind the act of taking her life, or if everything began as an argument that spiraled violently out of control. Although the final conclusions have yet to be released, the case has left deep scars on both the student community and the Crawford family. On November 16th, a memorial and funeral service for Alexis was held with great solemnity and streamed online so that thousands could share in the grief. The church in Athens, Georgia, was filled with relatives, friends, professors, students, and even strangers who had been deeply moved by her story. Prayers were offered through tears, and everyone in attendance felt an indescribable sense of loss. Not long after the service, Jordan Jones and Barron Brantley were formally indicted by a grand jury on multiple serious charges, marking a new stage in the pursuit of justice for Alexis.
People accused in the murder of a Clark Atlanta University student pleaded not guilty late this afternoon.
When the case moved into the prosecution phase, both Jordan Jones and Barron Brantley pleaded not guilty to the 6 criminal charges they were facing. The charges included intentional homicide, false imprisonment, and concealing the death of another person. In addition, Barron Brantley was charged with violating probation and obstructing someone from making an emergency call during the incident. Although forensic testing had previously revealed biological evidence linked to the assault Alexis had reported earlier, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office announced that the two suspects would not face assault charges, as the primary focus of the case was on the act of intentional homicide. The office also confirmed that it would not seek the death penalty for either defendant, instead pursuing life imprisonment if convicted. During a background investigation, authorities discovered that Baron Brantley had an extensive criminal history, including prior arrests for theft, assault, serious traffic violations, attempts to evade police, as well as incidents of domestic conflict and misconduct involving minors. In just 2 years, Brantley had been detained at least 5 times in the same Georgia detention facility, painting a troubling picture of a violent and persistent offender, a fact that left many questioning how he was still free before the tragedy involving Alexis occurred.
No bond for a young woman accused of killing her friend who was also her roommate.
During today's virtual hearing, Crawford's mother and father pleaded with the judge to not issue a bond for Jones, with the mother's tearful plea saying her daughter's killing was senseless. Jones was previously denied bond, but today her attorneys asked the judge to reconsider, arguing she has helped with the investigation, has no previous criminal history other than a misdemeanor. They also pointed out that she has ties to the community and doesn't have a history of threatening or intimidating anyone. But prosecutors allege they found direct messages from Jones on social media encouraging Brantley to destroy surveillance video evidence from the apartment complex where Jones and Crawford lived. And they argued she was on probation for a DUI when Crawford was killed. Crawford's mother and father also addressed the judge during Jones's bond hearing today.
She died for no reason. No reason at all. Oh my God. But Jordan took it around. Jordan chose to go to the evil side.
Both Jordan Jones and Baron Brantley were denied bail after the judge determined that they posed a high risk of fleeing and potentially interfering with witnesses. During the hearing, prosecutors revealed that just hours after Alexis was found, without signs of life, Jordan had withdrawn from Clark Atlanta University and made plans to leave Georgia to live with her parents in Michigan, an action viewed as an attempt to evade legal responsibility. Moreover, Jordan was accused of contacting witnesses in the case to obtain information and influence their statements. She also reportedly reached out to members of Alexis's family, falsely claiming that no biological evidence had been found in the forensic tests, when in fact, the results clearly confirmed Baron Brantley's direct involvement. Jordan's defense attorneys declined to comment on the specific allegations, but argued that their client had cooperated with investigators once the case came to light, maintaining that she was merely drawn into a tragic chain of events. However, with the evidence gathered, particularly the fact that Jordan had allowed Baron to return to the apartment immediately after the serious assault, prosecutors deemed her defense inconsistent and unconvincing. As for Baron, he and Jordan began blaming each other, each attempting to distance themselves from the primary responsibility. Attorneys for both defendants filed motions, requesting that their cases be separated so that each could stand trial independently rather than being tried together. In the midst of all these legal proceedings, the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic caused significant delays in the trial process. And by 2023, the Crawford family would face yet another painful setback in their long pursuit of justice for their daughter.
New developments in the murder case of Clark Atlanta University student Alexis Crawford more than 3 years ago. During a hearing Friday, we learned her accused killer's confession cannot be used in court.
By 2023, the legal proceedings in the Alexis Crawford case faced another major setback when the Fulton County Court ruled that Baron Brantley's confession could not be used as evidence at trial. According to the judge, at the time Baron admitted to his actions, he was possibly under the influence of a harmful substance, raising questions about the legality of his statement. This decision forced investigators to confront a difficult challenge. They now had to prove that the interrogation had been conducted entirely voluntarily, without coercion or exploitation of the suspect's mental state. Despite this, prosecutors and investigators maintained that Barron's confession had been made willingly and that its content aligned with Jordan Jones's earlier statements, showing consistency between both accounts regarding the timeline, location, and sequence of events on the night of the incident. Still, the court's exclusion of Barron's confession from the official evidence record significantly slowed the trial process, leaving Alexis's family to continue waiting for justice amid ongoing heartbreak. In the months that followed, the Alexis Crawford case continued to face repeated legal delays. The most devastating blow came when the court announced it was considering the possibility of allowing Barron Brantley to apply for temporary bail, a decision that outraged both the Crawford family and the Atlanta community. In a heartfelt letter addressed to the judge, Alexis's mother, Tammy Crawford, wrote, "The pain our family has endured from the cold, deliberate act that took Alexis's life at the hands of Barron Brantley and Jordan Jones, people we once welcomed into our home as family, is a pain that will never fade and is almost impossible to bear. I am truly horrified at the thought that Barron could be released." Pastor Mark A. L. Hutchins, who had stood beside the family throughout their long fight for justice, also spoke during a prayer gathering, saying, "It's hard to comprehend how two young people, only 21 years old, could take the life of a young woman over something so senseless. It is beyond words, an act of cruelty and inhumanity that defies understanding." His words brought the entire room to silence, once again reminding everyone that behind the court hearings and legal proceedings lies the very real pain of a family who lost the daughter they loved most. As of March 2023, the Alexis Crawford case had still not been given an official trial date for either Jordan Jones or Barron Brantley. Legal proceedings continued to stall due to disputes over the admissibility of evidence and ongoing discussions about possible bail, leaving the pursuit of justice at a frustrating standstill. The Crawford family remained trapped in a painful, helpless wait, as their hopes of hearing a final verdict for their daughter had yet to be realized. Friends and loved ones of Alexis described this period as an unending ache, where each day that passed without justice felt like reopening a wound that had never had the chance to heal. At just 21, Alexis was only beginning a life full of promise. A bright, kind-hearted young woman with dreams of serving her community and a steadfast belief in doing what was right. In her final days, she was betrayed in more ways than one by those she had trusted most. The cruel and senseless act that took her life turned a tragic case into a symbol of loss, betrayal, and the pain of an entire generation. During the memorial, Alexis's sister, Alexandria, said with emotion, "Alexis will always be my role model, my inspiration, and my strength." And her father, Bobby Crawford, speaking through tears, said,
"Hold on to your kids. Love them. Talk to them. Appreciate them and listening to them. Don't stop listening to your kid."
And in a tearful interview, Alexis's mother, Tammy Crawford, said, "Nothing in this world can bring my daughter back, but keeping the people who took her life behind bars without the possibility of bail gives me and my family a small measure of peace, a small sense of safety as we continue to wait for the day when justice is finally served. Her words echoed like a broken sob, carrying the unbearable pain of a mother's loss and the desperate longing to see true justice done. As time passes, the case of Alexis Crawford remains an open wound in the heart of the Atlanta community, not only because of the heartbreaking loss of a bright, ambitious young woman, but also because it exposed the darker sides of trust, friendship, and betrayal. The story of Alexis Crawford is not just a true crime documentary retelling a heartbreaking case, but a powerful reminder of the value of trust, vigilance, and the strength of justice. Alexis was a young woman full of ambition, someone who believed deeply in doing what was right and dreamed of helping others. Yet her tragedy came at the hands of those she once considered her closest friends. From this story, we learn that danger doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes, it lies within the people closest to us. Trust must always be balanced with awareness and boundaries that protect us. It also serves as a wake-up call about the importance of listening, paying attention, and looking out for one another, especially in a world where young people can be so vulnerable. Thank you for listening to today's story in True Crime Documentary. If you were moved by Alexis Crawford's painful journey, please share this video to raise awareness about justice, and leave a comment below as a way to honor her memory. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit like to support us in continuing to bring you real-life stories, where every tragedy not only leaves behind sorrow, but also teaches us to cherish life and those we love. See you in the next True Crime Documentary, where together we continue to seek truth and justice for the voices that still remain unheard.